everybody. We are back for another week of health, wealth, and
Relationships with Tisa.
Grant.
Hello, hello, and good morning. I hope everybody had a wonderful MLK Day. It was very cold. I didn't do much, but hopefully you guys got. Did you do anything?
Yeah, I stayed I stayed in my home and enjoyed all the festivities and parades from a very warm place.
True. It was freezing. It was a very, very. I think we had a cold advisory on MLK Day. But if you didn't stay in, like Grant and I, and got out to some of the MLK luncheons, we don't have a parade here in Omaha, but some of the cities do. But I hope you participated in some type of community event and or made it a day of service.
It was a great day of service because we were talking about, how do we preserve his legacy, right? His legacy is very, very important, especially in today's time. And you're talking about something that you're preserving. What you got on your mind today?
Well, let's talk about a little self-care today.
Yes.
And so we will talk about self-care from a perspective of self-care is self-preservation. We use a lot of big words today. Yeah. Self-preservation, right? It is, how people always say, I'm gonna protect my peace.
Yes.
And that basically means protecting your peace of mind. All right. And so we want to look at some self-care tips and how you can just start preserving yourself through self-care.
I like it. Let's go.
Okay. So first thing I want to say, if you don't have a self-care regimen, start one. Everybody needs time for themselves. Everybody is busy. We're raising kids. We're raising grandkids. We're working hard. We're out there saving the world. And it's really important to balance that with self-care.
Yes.
You cannot pour from an empty cup. And so I practice mine daily. And I say the more that you are a giver, the more self-care is important. Because again, you can only put out what you have inside you. So it's important for you to fill up. Preserve your peace and make sure that you're all together before you can start giving it away.
100, because you're talking about burnout, and I think we all can get a little burnout, especially after the holidays. We've been ripping and running, and now we're into the real 2026, deep into January. The year is in front of us, so we're not chasing perfection, but we are trying to build some things that we can help preserve ourselves and our own peace. You said our own health. Right?
Yeah,
very important.
Absolutely, because self-care, it affects your health, right? Yes. If you are constantly pouring out, or if you're constantly stressed and don't know how to balance that out with some self-care, you're going to be a person who's going to go into depression or just lose your mind. People do stress themselves too crazy, and then you're less effective when you're stressed, right? So you want to be able to flow naturally and flow with some energy, and that's going to need some self-preservation. So some health tips for self-preservation and self-care. First, make the time for yourself. Carve out in your 24-hour day. You got 8 hours of sleep. You got about 8 hours of work. Give yourself at least 20 minutes to a half hour for self, right? Yeah. Start that could be in the beginning of the morning. You get yourself all together and get yourself geared up for the day, or in the evening. Works best for me in the evening and on the weekends. I done went a whole week, or I done went a day. And then I always try to fill up. So for me, it's walking.
Yes.
That's a great way for me to get my exercise, to kind of clear my head outside in the fresh air. It gives me time to jump on Facebook and give some tips, but also show people simple walking is just the best tool that anybody can do that doesn't cost anything. Walking is free, but it also gives you time to breathe and get new ideas, and for me also to talk to God. It's a time when I'm not with my son that I have my one-on-one with my higher being, and so use that however you need to fill up. But that's one thing that I do is walk. Yeah. But just whatever you do, just put aside some time. It might be taking a bath for somebody else. Just self-care. It might be a long hot shower. But I would say first things first, put down your phone. Yeah. I think you cannot totally focus on yourself if you still got some things going on this device, right?
Right.
Put down your phone. So that's, again, we talked about giving time to yourself and putting the phone down. Do it at the end of the night, again, where you probably shouldn't be doing a lot of business late night anyway. Your body needs time to wind down for your sleep. So practice some self-care techniques at night, but with that phone off.
But I like what you said also in the morning, because I find myself waking up in the morning And if I just get up, start, dress, take a shower, dressing, seeing a little bit of the news, and get out the door, I have not done a lot for my own self care at that point.
No.
And when I first wake up, I like what you're saying. You can either get into either a meditation or some silence and just listen to yourself and what's really going on, and then listen to your body. Because if you're extremely tired, there's certain things that your body is telling you that if you pay attention to, you're like, okay, you know what? I do need to take an extra 15 minutes to just power down a little bit before I go meet the day, because I don't have enough energy that I can meet the moment. So I take that, and I take that out of your book, because you do a lot with self-care until those little baby steps, as you call them, that actually prepare you for the moment.
Yeah. And, some self-care has to be budgeted in. So you don't want to stress yourself out by doing something that is very expensive. So walking is free. Calling up a friend and just having a girls' night or girls' day or girls' lunch is free. That gives you time to talk and socialize and just not focus on the world's issues, but just kind of get back into touch with the friendship. And encouraging and fostering a relationship with a good friend is always helpful and de-stressful. So, have lunch with a friend. Better yet, have lunch with yourself.
Yeah.
Take yourself out on a date.
That's a good one. I like that. Take yourself
out of the date, right? So, I found myself trying to have a staycation. So over Christmas holiday, I was supposed to be trying to go to St. Croix, trying to go to Jamaica. Didn't get anywhere. And so I said to myself, I need my downtime. And I was telling Grant, I need time at the end of the year after I do 2 annual events for Peak Lotus, after I hit 100 health fairs, after I speak to 5 churches during the month of October, after I'm giving, doing one-on-one counseling. I need at the end of the year to woosah. It really is. I've given, and I try to put it in the spring, and I try to put in some self downtime is what I'm talking about, and at the end of the year. So I missed my downtime. I did get my son, so I called myself on a staycation, and so I'm like, okay, I have to still do something to fill my cup, to feel like I'm on a little bit of a vacation. I'm got a little bit of sun. I'm not working. I really try not to focus on work, although it's really hard if you're still in the city, if you still have the same environment. So I'm still getting out of town, but I try to do a staycation. So I took myself to dinner.
Yeah.
I do that often. My favorite place is the Blue. I will go into Blue Sushi and sit at that bar and order myself myself all day long. So, because a lot of people don't like Blue Sushi, but I'm like, let's go to Blue Sushi. So
you gotta know what you like.
I gotta just satisfy my own self. Exactly. So I will take myself on a Blue Sushi date in a minute, and that's okay. So get used to being by yourself and just treat yourself. Do whatever you want somebody to do for you, for yourself.
I think that's a good.
Send yourself flowers.
What you just stated, you gave us a lot of great tips just now. And with the audience, if you feel these tips, make sure that you're listening in to us. You can put into your chat help, and you put in the chat help. We're going to send you these tips, so you get these right away. They're going to be a little bit more in depth that you normally get on the show, but it's going to help you, because she just gave you some things around breath control. She's talking about walking, taking time for yourself, and do a staycation. Take yourself out on a date. I like that one.
Yeah, it's self-preservation. So everything you need to do is just do what makes you feel good.
Yeah,
that fills your cup. Do what makes you makes you happy. And that might not be something that you want to do with somebody else. That just might be hiking up a mountain by yourself and somebody else looking at you like, I ain't hiking on the mountain. Just get up and do it. Whatever makes you feel good. You might want to take a long hot bath. I don't know. I'm not a bath person. I
haven't done it in a while. More showers, but that's not.
I am a shower person. So if you're
how about the hot tub? Because you got a hot tub.
I love hot tubs. Now I'll do a hot tub in a minute. People know me. They know I love a hot tub, and I'm going to get one. I had a portable one. You had one at the house. If that's something that you need, if you really love, because I love moving water. So a hot tub. If I can rent me a jacuzzi room out,
I had a lot of just the moments after work, that type of thing. You get in the hot tub and just in my environment, in the house I had in Miami, it was just a great way to just tune out the world. To your point, put down the phone. You're not listening to none of that. You just listen to yourself, listening to nature, and you're just kind of powering down in a very peaceful way. So I like that.
So if you like hot tubs, set aside some money to get a hot tub and or get a jacuzzi room. So again, it doesn't have to be expensive, but if you are about self-care habits that cost a little bit of money, make sure you budget for it.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
You gotta
Budget for it, so that it's not taken away from some need that you really need to be doing, but it's not also going to stress you because you overspent in some area that you didn't have the money for. So that's like a proactive approach to your finances. Set that daily time, and like I said, we'll have a lot of health core tips. It could be simple things. Dancing. Yeah. Just take 15 minutes out to dance. I'm a dancer, and I'm really going to incorporate dancing back into my life.
I like it.
I dance when I have to, but there's this time where you should just cut on the music and just dance.
Makes you feel
dance.
good.
What they say, dance like nobody's watching. That is such a self-care thing that you won't even know. Or sing.
Yeah.
Some of us ain't big singers, but if we can turn on our favorite songs and just sing, even if it's out of tune. Are you a singer?
As long as nobody's watching, I'm a great singer. Yeah.
See, I can carry a tune. Singing makes you feel better. It encourages your soul. Dancing makes you feel better. It encourages your soul. So those are just some little itty bitty things that you can do to just start. But I would say first things first, start with setting aside a time and turning off the phone.
Yep. That's going to de-stress you.
Yeah.
100%. We were talking about now health, obviously, and you bold into what you just were alluding to is your wealth. And wealth is more than just your money, but is obviously a big part of that because health, think about this, and from a wealth perspective, is that your body is a bank, right? What kind of withdrawals are you making? What kind of deposits are you making?
Said all withdrawals.
And because that obviously, if you take nothing with withdrawals in your body, that's going to cause you a lot of health stress.
That's right. That's right.
Right. And you don't want to be in crisis.
Right.
So we want to avoid crisis all that we can from a health perspective by following self-preservation type tips. I'm going to give you a few of those right now. I think the biggest one, and we talked about this, you got to be aware. You've got to be aware of your financial situation, and whether it's it's your own bank, let's just say, or it's a shared bank. You're in a family situation.
Absolutely.
You have to be aware of what your financial situation is. Is it in the positive or is it in the negative? And then what are you doing to change that to get to a healthier, wealthier type standpoint? So
being aware is a good person. Because some people don't. Yeah, some people, because you don't budget. Some people don't budget. Some people get paid. They buy what they want to buy off the top, and they might pay a bill or they pay their bills, but the rest of that money, they don't even know where it's going. And so a kind of a proactive approach, again, to don't stressing about money is, like you said, do a budget and know where it is. Know your status.
You gotta know your status. And to your point, if you're not disciplined, that type of thing, that can compound the debt that you're doing. Because if you only pay the minimum on different cards and things of that nature, you're just compounding the problem, and you are just avoiding what's eventually going to happen. The debt comes due, right? So try to avoid that thing. So pick one day of the week. It could be just some minutes to Tisa's point, about maybe 10 minutes or so, and just check and look at your balances. Look at where are you right now with your bill? Where are you right now on subscriptions? Sometimes you get subscriptions. And then you forgot about it, and all of a sudden they start draining your bank account, right? So you got to be aware. There's no shame in this, just the truth. You got to be true to yourself when it comes down to managing your finances, managing your financial health, which is your wealth. Right. So you're going to make sure that you are completely aware and communicate that if you can communicate it to yourself, and if you're involved with others, you've got to communicate it to them so they know kind of where you sit at this point in time and what you can do going forward. The other big tip is about automation. I'm gonna get a prescription app just where you're on that.
Yeah. You guys might want to join me on this, because I think that's some hidden money that people don't realize. Because I'll sign up for an app and then I'll cancel an app, and then they might not cancel, or I'll look on my bank account, all of a sudden that $40 out. I'm like, I thought I canceled it. Yeah. And so sometimes you have to be aware to kind of see what stuff is still out there that you're not even aware is generating money out your account. So I need to do that. Cancel subscription app. Make it notes. Make
a big note of that, and make sure you check your Google. You can go into your Google and your Google console, because a lot of times when you're placing orders, the automation is actually in the Google console, right? So you know what? I'm going to go over here and cancel that app. that may not cancel the subscription. You've got to be very, very careful because they may hide it in different ways. So that's very important. Let's get down to that automation. So that's an automation that your people that you owe money to, the bill collectors, right? That's what they do. That's how they automated your subscriptions. Totally automated.
Totally automated.
Totally automated. So how are you automating how you're going to build your wealth, right? We got to have more deposits than withdrawals. So what are we going to do around that? We got to be intentional about it, right? So no matter if you're getting paid, you're a W-2 employee, you're getting paid once a week, twice a week, once a month, whatever that is, make sure you're setting aside something for your future. It doesn't matter the amount. Just start creating the habit. This money, it doesn't go toward anything other than my future, or I'm going to allocate that. This is going to be my vacation money. This is going to be what I'm going to utilize for this new car or whatever it may be, and set that money aside. That's going to help you to automate that process. So as we know, as you go through life, there's going to be upsets, right? So, whether your car breaks down, a repair comes due, something happens that's kind of pulling away from that. So you want to make sure that you start to build that buffer so it doesn't take you off your game and what you're trying to accomplish. So automate some of that because you get paid automatically, right? Most of the time, right? Right.
So the second is automate your bills. Is that what?
Automate savings.
Automate savings.
Your bills is coming. The bills is coming.
Automate the savings.
Automate the savings. You know that OPPD bill, that MUD bill, that telephone bill, that comes every month.
But you know what? Do you think it's a good habit to automate the payouts as well? Because I think some people if you don't budget, what has helped me is automating those payments in my budget. So I know. First of all, they get you by you not paying things on time.
Exactly.
So by automating your bills and paying your bills in an automated way, it helps them, yes, but it also helps you stay on point, stay on time. And you already got it in your budget, so you don't have to remember to go pay this or remember to go pay that. And when you're checking your balances and your budgets, you'll see that everything has gotten paid. That's a load off my mind. Yep. The loan came out, the rent came out, the mortgage came out, all of that. And so and it's automated. So I don't have to worry about being late is how they get you, because you're going to get late fees.
Compounded.
The late fees, that's just extra money in their pocket. So automate the payments too. I think that's helpful.
Yeah. So that ties into everything we're talking about, which is our third tip. So first, I've given you awareness. Then we'll talk about automation. And you see that works both ways, and it can be good. It doesn't matter. You want to automate your bills. I think that's important, especially things that are reoccurring.
Sure.
Right? And you already know that's gone. But also pay yourself. That's really what that's about. Automate your savings, not just your bill payments. That's really the key trick there.
Right.
And then the allocation. How are you going to allocate money towards certain buckets? So you don't have to depend on a credit card when something goes bad. That's how you start. You build up a debt that you can't pay it back in the amount of time that you want to. And to your point, it starts to compound with the interest and other things. Then you find yourself in a situation that gets out of control. So if you start to allocate resources, and I'll go back to what my grandmother always used to tell me: live within your means, right? Just because you can afford, let's say, a very expensive car doesn't mean you need to get one, right? Start looking at things that are important.
Live within your means. I mean, some of us is out here flossing and flopping and ain't got a pot to piss in, as my mama used to say. But you riding around in Bentleys and Benzes and you don't own a home. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got nowhere to lay your head that you call yours. So don't live ghetto fabulous. Live within your means. I mean, because it always comes out. You go out with somebody who's flossing and you go out and have a drinks and they can't pick up a tab, or they want you to pick up the tab, or they borrowed some money even to go out. That's somebody, it's like, okay, but you driving a Bentley or you driving a Benz or whatever. Live within your means. I think that'll keep all the stresses down and just keep you true to yourself.
100%.
Right?
Most rich people, people that are what you would call wealthy, don't floss like that. They don't.
Warren Buffett take tips.
No, they're very. They know they use money for other things. Right. So you can only own so many cars, so many houses, things of that nature. That's really not what's important. I like to see, how can I create human impact? How can I create communities better? I'm not saying you shouldn't have a nice car. You need a nice, reliable vehicle.
Right. We don't like nice cars. I wasn't saying that. But.
No, but understanding that when you're not living within your means, or you're trying to portray an image that's not really real, and I know social media will kind of, put you in those
Everybody's living their
categories.
best life.
No. And if you say,
and they ain't.
no, they're not, and they're not doing all those things.
Yeah.
So we got to touch on this because I'm getting to the relationship world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we've given you tips on health. We've given you tips on wealth, and I want to make sure if you want to know more about wealth creation, type it into the comments, and we'll make sure we get you more information. So just put WEALTH, wealth, and me and Tisa will get back to you. So relationships. I'm telling you, Tisa is a master on relationships. She has schooled me on relationships, and these are the important non-negotiables when it comes to relationships. I'm going to defer to her like, Tisa, take us through relationships in your world.
Oh, that's so funny that he says that. No, so relationships, as we know, most relationships break up because of finances.
Yeah.
Like it's over 50%. It used to be 50% of the couples break up because of finances. I would say that number has grown. In my mind, I'm thinking almost all relationships
got a money component to it.
90%. I would say 90%. Yeah. And I think because just like relationships, we jump into the deep end with a person. We don't have those conversations that's needed around finance. And so when we talk about self-preservation and self-care around your relationships, it's going to have to start with conversations.
Absolutely.
The main reason why these things happen is because we never talked about it.
Right.
We didn't talk about that.
No.
We didn't talk about that. That's what people say. And being married twice, I know that finances and money problems is the number one thing that, because we don't have the conversations, because finances is hard to talk about, right?
It's a difficult subject, especially when it comes to how you feel about yourself, especially when you go through changes in your financial structure. Like at one point in time, you're doing well, everything was great, but life is cyclical and you're not always on top. Sometimes you find yourself in situations you didn't expect. So then there's the shame that comes into it. Like, you know what? I can't afford to do that. I don't want to say I can't afford it. So then you try to do other things and then you end up in a situation you can't handle. And then you have to really think about this, fellas. And I'm talking to my fellas here. What is the crutch of your relationship about? What keeps this person with you? And that's important because if it's all about the money and you don't have any money and that person is like such tiptoeing somewhere else, what is the purpose of this relationship?
Yeah, I think, and when we talk about relationships, when you're talking about self-preservation and self-care around relationships, I guess when I'm talking about relationships, I'm talking about you're in a committed relationship, maybe an engagement, or you're living together, or you're married, where your money is combined. Right. Because when you're talking about a dating relationship and you're like, what is your crutch about being with this person? Those things you need to figure out in that dating phase, right? So. And so that's a whole nother conversation on how you spend money when you're dating. Because a lot of people are still trying to put their fake foot forward.
Fake foot forward. I like that.
That just means you're still learning about each other, but you're still trying to impress that person. Sure. So you're doing some things that you probably wouldn't do. You might buy that person some crazy $300 purse just to impress her, knowing you can't afford it. So dating takes on a different perception. I want to talk about relationships and committed relationships. Say you're living together. Some tips on self-care and self-preservation. Let us start with a conversation. Okay. I think anytime you're getting with a person and you're combining your funds, right? Or and that might be even a dating situation when you're going on a trip, right? So we're planning a trip. We're going to be going to Jamaica. We're going to have that conversation on how that's going to look financially. Like who's paying for what? What are we going to do when we get there? Do we have money to do those things? Sure. Who's going to pay for what? That kind of stuff. That way you're not surprised when things come up. And really, there's no jack in the boxes popping out. You have to have a conversation. No surprise. Starts with the conversation. And really try to make those conversations daily conversations. So we don't only talk about finances when we got a problem or finances when we want to do stuff, because it builds into a stressful situation. We want to start de-stressing the conversations around spending, because we spend every day. So when you're with a person, set the time to have some daily conversations, even if it's, Yo, baby, how'd your day go today? It was work. Did you buy anything? Did you spend any money? and keep it light like that. Don't be like, did you go spend $500 today? Oh, I saw a new purse. What that cost? That kind of stuff. Just have a uplifting conversation, just like a conversation around what's for dinner. That kind of takes the stress out of the conversation. So if I go over and I spend too much, or if I'm in a different space and I want to do it, I can still go, honey, I spent too much and I know that you're not going to kill me. Or I say, okay, I broke my thrifting budget. For me, it's cheap stuff. Like I'm not even a mall person. I might say, babe, I spent $100 thrifting today. Now that might make me feel bad. You might be like, look, $100, that's cool. Because it could have been $500 at the mall. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So just make it so it's a light conversation. It's just a daily conversation. I like the daily, the constant conversation around spending.
One thing that came up, I remember talking to a lot of individuals about this, especially I'm going to specifically say in our African-American households, we do not talk about money at the table, either with ourselves or either with our kids, and we're not having financial conversations.
Right.
However, as we just said, the umbrella over us is all financial.
It's all financial.
So it's very important to have the discussion, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, to understand the game that is being played before us.
Yeah.
So we know, and you have to know who the relationship that you have. This person likes certain things. I know this working with Tisa, she loves to go out to the thrift store and show me what she got, and they're probably proud of, like, I paid $10 for this. You know, that's her thing, right? And understanding that. And then as males, I think we need to be a little bit more communicative. Is that a word? Communicate those things, whether you feel good or bad about what it is. Like, wow, I thought that was a little expensive, or maybe not. Show me the value in what you're doing. And that's how you get that communicate. Well, I see it like this. Well, I didn't say, oh, well, since you put it in that way,
right,
I understand it better. Or like guys, we'll go out and spend money on, some stuff that maybe is not really relevant for yourself. And then kind of keep it to ourselves to a certain degree. Like, we're just going to do that without having that communication. And that is what causes
the friction.
So
take the time, make it open communication, make it daily communication, and talk about, we talked a little bit about love language. Yeah. Talk about if your love language is things. So, because this is where it would become a problem. If I don't know that your love language is things and you're expecting me to always buy you things, that could become a problem. So when it comes to just communication, find out each other's love language, because my love language might be things. It isn't. My love language is affirmations. So just so you know. But another person's love language might be things. She might have grew up well off and might have grew up in the money, and expect that next person is going to continue to lavish them with expensive things. And that might be their love language, So I would say if you're going to be involved financially with somebody, find out their love language, because their love language might be things.
Lots of things.
Expensive things.
And I'm going to say this because I see this in the younger generation, especially when I tune into like Instagram, TikTok, things like that they have this unrealistic lifestyle that comes out. Like, I have to have 100 Chanel bags. I gotta be running around in a Bentley. I gotta do it in order to be with me, because I'm very sexy, very good looking. And then the guys thinks like, wow, I gotta put on this show in order for her to like me. And I think that is not a long-term strategy if you really want to be with that person, because nobody has money like that for a long time. Or if you did, you're not going to have it very long. And we do hear about sports figures, things like that. They run out of money because they're just not good money managers. So what we're talking about is be real with yourself, be real who you're dealing with. I think if you get to that point, whether you are, especially in health, you might be perfectly healthy today and sick tomorrow. Remember, we say when you get married in sickness and in health, you got to make sure that person is going to be with you. When it comes to money, you might have money right now, but it'd be a point where you don't have money. Is that person really with you for the money, or they're with you because they like you? You got to really understand.
I think somebody was with Grant for money, y'all. I don't know where this keeps coming up, and I'm just going to share. Somebody abused this man's wallet. So I would say, when you're picking a partner, again, this comes back to dating. When you're picking a partner, you might want to just, all the glitter isn't gold. From a man's perspective, it's all about really looks and external things. And so while you're looking at those looks and external things, I guess I would say for a guy to pay attention to that internal stuff, like how does she spend money? If she likes to look like this, is that all expensive stuff? Am I gonna be able to keep up with her type of spending? She might be one of those people who's up here flossing all the time. That might not be the chick for you.
Yeah.
Right? That just might not be the chick for you. I wouldn't say go into it like, let's talk about you not spending as much, because that might be her. I would say pick your equally yoked people. If you got money to spend, go with that person who needs that money to spend. I'm a cheap date. Like I said, I do. I like to eat, but they don't have to be expensive. It just have to be healthy. And it just has to be, something I like. I'm not a
name. Let's not say she's cheap. She's inexpensive.
I'm inexpensive. I am inexpensive because look, he was right. Thrifting is my thing, and I save so much money thrifting. I think I ain't even gonna tell you, but I am the queen thrifter. I am a professional thrifter, and it works. It works to save money, and it works. So
we're gonna wrap up. I think you took some important tips out of health, wealth, and relationships.
We hope we give you some.
I hope we've given you a lot.
Put in the chat or in the comments. Anything else you would like us to expand on?
Sure.
And if you want some extra tips, we'll have again a resource sheet for give you some more tips and some more examples of things you can do for self-care.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you want to be a guest on the show, don't be shy. We can bring you up, have something relevant to talk about in this area. I think it would be great.
Yes. And speaking of guests, we're going to have Martine on. Martine's in the community. She does taxes. I forget the name of her. We'll have her probably on our next show because we're running into the tax season.
Yeah.
And so we want I'll give you some tips to deal with tax season, which is stressful. It's a finance thing, so it's stressful. And we'll have her to just give you some tips in that area.
Love it. See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Imagine waking up with more energy, a peaceful mind, and relationships that grow stronger every day. That is the vision Tisa Harden and Grant McGaw want to help you achieve, and it all starts with simple, practical steps you can take this week. On Health, Wealth, and Relationships, every episode brings you real stories and trusted experts. Tisa and Grant focus on 3 tactical steps each week. Small, doable moves that protect your health, grow your savings, and bring you closer to the people you love. No complicated rules, just real progress. Try a clinic-to-kitchen swap to boost your energy. Start a money buffer habit that quietly builds your financial confidence. Or try a 1-minute exercise that helps you reconnect with your partner. These quick wins are not chores. They are steps toward a better life. People who try just one intentional step report more energy, less money stress, and evenings full of laughter again. Join Tisa and Grant. Start small. Live bigger. Tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube